Angels or ETs, the new Exo-Theology. All non-believers want peace, happiness, and healthy longevity. Preface/TLDR, the broad path to 900 years. This document, subtitled All Non-Believers Want Peace, Happiness, and Healthy Longevity, is the logical successor to my previous work regarding CreaVolution. Where CreaVolution specifically focused on bridging the gap between creation and evolution, here we extend that line across the full spectrum of our existence. The goal is simple yet radical. I want to remove all barriers, hurdles, and useless beliefs once and for all. We are wasting our precious time and energy on a senseless struggle for being right, while in the meantime, we are leaving the ultimate prize on the table. The great paradox. How is it possible that nearly every human on this planet wants exactly the same thing? To grow old healthily, freely, and happily. Yet we remain divided into countless camps at each other's throats. An undiscovered Amazonian tribesman would laugh right in our faces if he heard how we, in our so-called enlightened and modern world, make life so bitter for one another. We think we are moving forward, but in our mutual conflict, we behave more primitively than the very nature we try to subdue. The cocktail of salvation. In this document, I show that the solution does not lie in a single corner. It is a cocktail. The ingredients are within our reach. The moral compass of the prophets. The technical precision of science. The cosmic presence of ETs, our high-frequency neighbors. The power of our own free will. We do not have to wait for a miracle or a political shift. The path to a life expectancy approaching 900 years is open to everyone willing to update their own biological firewall and turn their back on the slavery of the military financial monster. In short, stop fighting to be right and start living to be happy. The source code is there. It is time we take control of the program ourselves. Chapter 1. The Universal Constitution, the Biology of Freedom, the Great Equalizer. Whether you cross yourself, kneel toward Mecca, or peer at a cell through the lens of a microscope, the deepest biological desire of every human being is identical. We call it autonomy. It is the urge of every living organism to grow in freedom without external suffocation. The core message that has echoed through history for thousands of years is simple. Leave me free, as long as I harm no one. This is not just a form of politeness. It is a paraphrasing of the ancient universal rule proclaimed by Jesus. Treat others as you would like to be treated yourself. It was a call to an organic order in which we become numerous through cooperation instead of oppression. The bankruptcy of the promise. This is where modern science falls short. Where religions promise peace in the afterlife, science promises us peace and progress in the here and now. Some scientists even dare to speculate about God or ET as the ultimate source. But as soon as these phenomena actually present themselves, in the form of unexplainable observations or deep intuitive truths, science is nowhere to be found. The excuse? We cannot prove it, so we cannot guarantee it. It is a weak, bureaucratic answer to an existential question. Science promises us the stars, but keeps us stuck in the waiting room of empirical evidence. The paradox of the prophet versus the materialist. Religions and politics have turned into a toxic us versus them game. This is the ultimate paradox because the founders, the true prophets, came specifically to tear down those barriers. Take Jesus and Muhammad. These were essentially ordinary people who led extraordinary lives. They put their message into practice. They were their message. Contrast that with the modern, self-appointed prophets of today. Look at a figure like Donald Trump. He sometimes presents himself as a savior, but acts like a common materialist. For him, reality is one big deal. Everything is for sale. Everything is trade. This religion of money dehumanizes not only himself, but also the victims of his policies. The result is not autonomy, but a modern form of slavery. The modern exodus, liberation in the now. Many people make the mistake of thinking that Bible stories about slavery and liberation took place in some dusty past. What use is that now? The truth is much more urgent. It is we who must be liberated today from a system of economic and mental slavery. Collectively, we are searching for a modern Messiah, a way out of the chaos. Is that me? Absolutely not. Even though I know the pain of a rotten life and proclaim the necessity of positive change, I'm not a descendant of those ancient stories. I observe the now. I see what is happening in the world today and offer counsel based on what I observe. The liberation we are waiting for does not take place in a history book, but in our own decision to take back control of our lives. The biological necessity of peace. Peace is not a luxury or a spiritual extra. It is a hard biological necessity. Science has shown that chronic stress, war, and unrest shorten telomeres, the protective caps on our DNA. Unrest literally eats us from the inside out and shortens our lives. Peace, therefore, is literally life extension. Furthermore, peace is the ultimate evolutionary threshold. If we truly want to go into space and meet our cosmic neighbors, we will first have to prove that we have our own backyard in order. No advanced civilization is waiting for an aggressive neighbor who only stirs up trouble. Peace is our access pass to the universe. Chapter 2. The Prophets. Messengers of ordinary origin. The principle of equality. Perfection within yourself. In traditional religion, prophets have often become unreachable saints, but the source texts tell a very different story. In the Quran, it is explicitly emphasized that Muhammad was a human being just like you and me, basharun mithlukum. Likewise, in esoteric traditions, Jesus, Isa, is portrayed as the Son of Man, someone who fully utilized the potential of the human blueprint. This is a crucial insight. If they were ordinary humans, it means that you and I are essentially the same. We can never take over the position of the source, but we can approach the perfection of the source. We were not created to be slavish followers, but to activate the resonance of the source code within ourselves. The universal desire versus the monster. The message of these men was crystal clear. Live in harmony with the source, and health and peace will follow. It was medical and psychological advice wrapped in spiritual language. At the same time, they were the whistleblowers of their era. They tirelessly warned against the military financial monster, the usurers, the corrupt kings, and the power-hungry elites who sought to suffocate human autonomy. Where science stops because it has no proof, and religions get stuck in vague metaphors, we go a step further. We are on the verge of truly seeing the throne of the source. The Sefer Yetzirah and the Tree of Life already gave us the blueprints of this source code. It is a structure of pure information and vibration. I have seen that throne draped in a multicolored sweater of frequencies. And above the firmament over their heads was the likeness of a throne, in appearance like a sapphire stone, and it had a brightness round about it as the appearance of the bow that is in the cloud in the day of rain. Ezekiel 1, 26-28. UFOs in tradition, the frequency lift. History is full of encounters that we, with our modern resolution, can finally interpret. What used to be called miracles was simply technology of a higher order. Ezekiel. He described a chariot with wheels within wheels, shining like polished metal, ascending with a deafening noise. This is not a vision. It is an eyewitness account of a physical vehicle. Jacob's ladder, a portal where beings move up and down between dimensions. In my view, this is a frequency lift, a connection between different layers of reality. Jinns and angels. The scriptures speak of beings made of smokeless fire. These are not fairy tale figures, but entities existing at a different resolution. They're invisible to the untrained eye, but they are truly there. Why now and not then? I, Hans J.C. Bacher, see these beings. I see them ascending and descending to their dwelling places, their ships in the sky. But make no mistake, I am no new Jacob or Ezekiel. I am simply a man of today. The reason we must bring these stories into the present is simple: the logic of time. In antiquity, you couldn't do anything with glittering things in the sky. You couldn't catch them, you couldn't eat them, and they came and went as they pleased. Humanity was not biologically or technologically ready then. But now, the time is ripe. Our DNA has evolved. Our receiver is more finely tuned. We now have the means not only to watch, but to make real contact and understand how these neighbors function. The Bible was the trailer. We are now living in the movie. Chapter 3. Health, Science, and the Struggle for the Source. the hunt for the fiat lux. In the sterile tunnels of the particle accelerator at CERN, scientists search for the God particle. They are attempting to mathematically cage the fiat lux, the very beginning of light. The big question looming over the horizon: will we humans ever create life ourselves? According to the Beth hypothesis, the answer is likely yes. But the follow-up question is more important. Is this desirable for benevolent people? The answer is a resolute no. We know our place. We are the algorithms, not the programmer. We respect the source precisely by honoring the life given to us, rather than trying to topple the source from its throne. Our task is to understand, not to take over. The Arabic great stop and the freezing of logic. History warns us of what happens when dogma triumphs over inquiry. In the Middle Ages, Muslims were the absolute world leaders in astronomy and mathematics. While Europe groped in the dark, they calculated the stars. Why did they stop? Around the year 1100, a fatal rift emerged between reason, Aql, and revelation, Naql. Under pressure from orthodox thinkers, logic was made suspect. The result was an intellectual ice age that lasted 1,000 years. As soon as a system says, "Ask no more questions," the answers are already fixed. The evolution of the human spirit stops. CreaVolution, the bridge for the seeker. In 2026, we see that some groups, such as Jehovah's Witnesses, sincerely try to place scientific facts within their biblical knowledge. They encourage the study of the world to ultimately find God. That is a brave step, but they get stuck at the boundary of macroevolution. For them, that feels like a step too far. This is where CreaVolution provides the solution. It is the logical bridge. Microevolution is simply macroevolution in slow motion. If the source is the source code, then evolution is the algorithm that optimizes that code for a constantly changing environment. We adapt because the source wrote that into our code. Exo-Theology, the ET connection. When we accept that the angels of the past are the ETs of today, beings with a much higher resolution and a deeper understanding of the source code, something extraordinary happens. Religion and UFO research merge into one new field, Exo-Theology. This also explains the biblical remark that we were created in the likeness of the source. Many people think of physical appearance, but in the text, the source is never described with a face or limbs, only by what he does and how he is. We resemble the source because we, like the source, process information and shape reality. We are software from the same maker. The future, isolation or evolution. Imagine that interstellar travel soon becomes a reality. A group of people moves permanently to a gas planet with low gravity. After several generations, their DNA will adapt so radically that reproduction with those left behind on Earth becomes impossible. Are they then less human? No, they are simply a different version of the same algorithm. The lesson is simple. Evolution never stops. The source is dynamic. Those who stop asking questions stop growing, and those who stop growing lose their connection to the source. Chapter 4. The Healing Cocktail. Why the Solution Lies with Us. The Myth of 900 Years. Fairy tale or blueprint? In the Bible, we read about patriarchs who lived to be 900 years old. Many view this as a metaphor or a translation error, but what if it is a biological memory? The true Holy Grail is not a vague paradise after death, but the restoration of our original biological state, healthy longevity. Look at the data. Before the 20th century, the average human lifespan was 35 to 50 years. In just a few generations, despite a polluted world, we have doubled that to nearly 90 years. If we extend this trajectory of scientific and hygienic progress, reaching 900 years is not a religious fantasy, but a statistical inevitability. I do not see those 900 years as something from a magical past, but as a fact we must place in our present era. Biblical facts only become logical when we view them as a roadmap for our current technological evolution. The barriers. Why they won't save us if they stay isolated. We wait for salvation from politics, science, or the church, but in isolation, these are merely inert ingredients. Religion alone, often stays stuck in the interpretation of dusty texts and refuses to allow in new data. An exception are groups like Jehovah's Witnesses, who use science to fill cracks in their worldview, yet they too hit the ceiling of their own dogma. Science alone, under the influence of the military financial monster, it threatens to become a cold machine, one that reduces humans to a collection of meaningless atoms purely to generate profit or power. The cocktail, the recipe for self-reliance. The current institutions are not going to save us, but they must lay the foundation. True salvation is a mindset, a healing cocktail of ET knowledge, Exo-Theology, modern healthcare, pure science, and the spiritual power of the source. The ingredients are within reach: the right faith, trust in the code, proven science, understanding the code, and a proper diet, maintenance of the hardware. CreaVolution, the bridge of information. To make this cocktail work, we need CreaVolution. This model recognizes that the universe is designed, information/creation, but that this design unfolds within a simulation, evolution. The tree of life from the Kabbalah is not just a symbol, it is the architectural drawing of this bridge. This blueprint is hidden in both inanimate matter, atoms, and organic matter, cells. By studying this blueprint, the mathematics behind life, we understand everything. We don't have to wait for a miracle from above. The manual to save ourselves and radically extend our lifespan is already hard-coded into our system. The lesson: we are the Messiah of the now. Only we can save ourselves by tearing down the walls between the altar and the lab. The source has given us the algorithm, our DNA, and the environment, the earth/cosmos. It is up to us to update the software. The salvation described in Holy Scriptures is, in fact, the assignment to finally grow up and claim authority over our own biological future. Chapter 5. Science versus the monster. The starvation of slavery. The illusion of the invincible monster. In previous chapters, we have seen how the bad rep of ET, the freezing of science, and the divisions in religion all serve the same mechanism: the military financial monster. But the most shocking conclusion is this: we are the ones sustaining this monster. The monster of slavery and control has no life force of its own. It lives off our energy, our fear, and our dependency. Every time we choose convenience over autonomy or fear over investigation, we feed the system. The only way to defeat this monster is not through a frontal assault, but through starvation. When we reclaim our autonomy and stop providing our mental and physical energy, the monster dies on its own. Free science in the margins. Does science that isn't on the leash of big money still exist? Yes, but you have to look closely. In the margins of society, open source scientists are working on free energy and natural healing. Because these techniques threaten the industry that profits from disease and scarcity, these pioneers are systematically dismissed as quacks. Yet, this is where true progress is made. Here, science becomes what it was meant to be: an instrument for humanity, not for the shareholder. The user manual and the technical manual. For a long time, we thought we had to choose between the church or the laboratory. The truth is we need both, but with a new division of roles. The Holy Scriptures, the user manual. These tell us how to behave so that society does not fall apart. It is the moral software. Science, the technical manual. This tells us how the machine works. It explains the hardware of our DNA and the laws of the cosmos. Without morality, the Scriptures, science is a dangerous weapon. Without science, the facts, morality is a blind guide. We have understood the moral mandate from the books by now. Love your neighbor and be a good steward. Now it is time to actually apply the technology behind that good life, the science of longevity and frequency, to set ourselves free. The rescue of free will. We have rescued our free will just in time from the claws of algorithmic manipulation. Now the next step is getting ourselves back entirely. As long as you are able to think freely, conduct independent research, and see the logic of the source and the nature around you, there is a way out. No one is coming to save us in the classical sense of the word. We are the ones who desire a free, real, and eternal life. The ingredients are on the table: the wisdom of the prophets, the data of true science, and the presence of our cosmic neighbors. The cocktail is ready. It is time to leave slavery behind and take the step toward the 500,000 years that lie ahead of us. Hans J. Seebacher, March 2026, the Netherlands.